Hey everyone, happy 2023. Welcome back to my channel. It's literally been a year since I last posted, but hopefully my posts have given you value, and hopefully this one does too. I'm really excited to kind of share something I've been working on over the past few weeks, which kind of has to do with this learning that I got out of last year. By the way, if you don't know me, I'm Hannah. I did the 75 hard challenge last year, and I kind of made this 10-day preparation plan to help me do it, where I made a Notion template that kind of had everything set up so that I could set myself up for success. And that's what my only other video is about. But yeah, I learned a lot from that template, and I'll link that video for you if you want to check it out. And I kind of wanted to build something that was more simple, that would help me kind of keep a core amount of habits that I want to bring into my life, but also that would allow me to focus on the present, or at least only a short amount of time ahead, instead of things like planning goals for a year ahead. Because what I found last year is that I set all these goals for a whole year ahead, and then I wouldn't get most of them done, because as the seasons change, I also change and have different motivations, things I want to do. Maybe I don't want to work as hard on certain things that I thought I would. So this year, yeah, I guess I was just trying to build something that would be a bit more applicable to shorter periods of time, where you could set goals within a 3-month period instead of a year. So that's kind of the point of this video, is that I want to take you through this new template that I made. There's 2 versions. I have a free version that just kind of goes over, it's like 1 page if you already have your own Notion set up that you really like and you just want to add this one section, and that has just the quarterly reset part of the video, or the Notion, where you're kind of thinking about the previous quarter and thinking about how you can bring it into the new quarter, like what feelings you want, what vibe you want, what goals you want to accomplish. And then there's a broader, more integrated one that you can pay for, where it has everything that I'm going to show you in the video today. Before we hop into the video, apologies for how terrible the segments are. I had to break it up by each different part of the Notion template, because my computer is literally on its last leg and I wouldn't be able to film it all in one go, so all my videos have to be limited to 3 or 4 minutes per section. So that's why it's broken up the way it is, but it should be easy for you to navigate. If there's specific things that you want clarification on for the template, when I can make a better video explaining how I use it, I definitely will. But yeah, hopefully this helps in the meantime, and yeah, I look forward to hearing how it works for you. Thanks for following along, and yeah, good luck. Hey everyone, welcome to your new Notion template. I'm so stoked to run through this with you and hopefully get you started on your quarterly reset journey. So first things first, I just want to say that each page that I have in this Notion template will have a Loom video like this one, where I'll just kind of take you through how I personally will be using this. And you can do whatever you want with this. This is totally editable once you make a duplicate of it. So you don't have to keep anything the same. You're totally welcome to, but this is just the way that I've made it and the integrations that I've developed for this. So I hope that you find that helpful. So first things first, we're on our space. Feel free to change all the icons and stuff. I just really liked these personally. This is kind of like your dashboard, if you will, that has all of kind of the main elements of this Notion template on one area. So it's kind of your go-to for just having an overview of everything that's going on. So I'll start at the top here, where we have a very simple calendar, just to let you know where we are in the week. And that's just kind of to let you know, hey, today's December 28th, it's a Wednesday. You can look ahead, you can look forward or back and see where you are on the calendar. Then over here, we have a task section that has multiple different views so that you can kind of see what's happening today. So in this view, only things that you've scheduled for the current date will show up here. And then if you pre-schedule different tasks, they'll automatically populate here for whenever you land on that day. So say you schedule 3 tasks, but they're for a week from now. When that date a week from now hits, they'll automatically populate here. So you always have a running idea of what you have to do on a specific day, even if you scheduled those a long time ago. At the end of the day, if you want to look through to tomorrow's tasks, you can click this view and it will load. I don't think I've scheduled any in this example, so you won't see any. Also, I apologize, but my computer is on the last leg of its life, so when I film things with this, it goes really slow. But yeah, I haven't scheduled anything here, but if I have pre-scheduled things, tasks that, if today is December 28th, tasks for December 29th would show up here. And then there's a overall brain dump where you can just put a whole bunch of things and you'll be able to see tasks that are not only from today. So you can see I put something here for March 27th. So that's going to show up here because it's not complete. So if things are complete, they won't show up here, but if they're not complete for a future date or today, they'll show up here. The last thing about today's tasks is that if you do something today that you don't end up checking off, it will still show up here tomorrow, and you can decide whether you want to reschedule that task or if you want to delete it or if you want to do it today. So even if you don't finish something from your today list, don't worry, it will still show up tomorrow on the same view. Then down here we have a habit tracker, and this will automatically, like every time you click it off, it will automatically reset the next day. So if you click it off here, when you wake up in the morning, there will be the same habits that are freshly ready to go. Just make sure that when you make these habits, you make them all on the exact same day because they will update only based on the day that they were created. So they have to be all made at the same time. Here is your hub of everything that will have their own Loom videos, so I won't go too much into detail, but you can go into each dashboard of its own from this section. Here's where all the birthdays that are today will filter, which is another section I'm going to show you later, so you kind of have a preview of like if someone's birthday is today so that you can kind of be on top of it and wish them happy birthday. This is where your daily spends are going to show up, so if you are spending like $5 on a latte, you can quickly plug that in and it will show up here, and nothing from beyond today will show up here. And it will all populate in different ways, which I'm going to show you. This is a grocery list so that you can check things off. As soon as you check something off, it will disappear. And so as you're grocery shopping, it can kind of be on the go for you. This is the quarterly reset plan, which I'm going to go through in a separate section. These are handy little timers that you can use for breaks and working periods. These are clips from the internet and different kind of motivation techniques, which I'll go into on a separate video. And finally, these are recurring generating journal prompts. So every morning there will be a new empty prompt for you that you can easily enter and do. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that here for the home page, and then we'll jump into some other sections. So to make your daily habits recur so that every day once you click this, the next day it will be a brand new fresh slate, here's a few steps that we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to New and press the down button, and then we are going to duplicate this, and a pop-up will come up and you'll enter the habit that you want to be able to recreate. So I'm going to put journal, then I'm going to go back, and then we'll see here that this is the recurring function, and then you have this habit. Then we're going to go again and we are going to duplicate this, and we're going to put in all of the habits that we want to recreate for that day. Once we have all of the habits that we want to apply, we are going to just click each one and add them in. After after you add these in, after you check them off, every day they'll recur. So the biggest thing to note is that you just need to go in here and make different templates for each habit that you want, and then it will always recur. Hello everyone, welcome back to the main dashboard. Before we move on to specific pages, there's two things I want to go over with you. One is how to set this up so that you have a very easy and smooth mobile experience with this for your phone, so that you can use this on the go and it can be something that you take with you everywhere you are. The second thing I want to go over are just like small, simple kind of things to note about Notion so that you can use it and update this as you like. So the first thing I want to note is the view that I have this in now is full screen on my laptop. These three elements here basically will help you have a guide for the different breakdowns of this Notion template. So if I click this, you'll see that it comes up here. I personally keep it on a hovering one so that when I move away, it also goes away. But you can click this lock sidebar and it will come permanently, and you'll just notice that your workspace gets a bit shortened, but it's not the end of the world. Just something to keep in mind. I personally like a full screen, which is why I have it on the hover, but that's totally up to you. So the thing you'll see here is that you're going to have many different elements, which basically these are all the things that I've built that make up this whole Notion workspace. This is how I recommend to favorite these elements so that you have easy access to things like your grocery list, your financial tracker, your daily tasks while you're on the go, so that you can easily add things and remove things as needed or check things off as needed. So the way that you can do this is that you can hover over, say you want to add quick notes, you can hover over and you can, I've already added it to favorites, but this is where you would be able to add it from favorites. If I was going to do something like the habit tracker, I could hover over this and then here you can see add to favorites. So you can screenshot this or just do it quickly on the side, but this is how I personally prefer to have the favorites, and then I'll add another section for the mobile viewing experience, but grocery shopping, financial tracker, today's task, quick notes, and Basecamp. So these are the things that I prefer or recommend to favorite. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I just want to go over is how to move basic things. So as you can see, when I hover over an element, this 6 little dots come up, and when you hover over it, you can either click it like this and it will give you different options. So you can change colors here, or you can turn it into a bigger font or a bigger, like a heading, for example. That's how I have it here. You also can click on any of these and it will turn into like an automatic text file, so you can write something and change the titles up as you like. So that's the first thing. These 6 dots also allow you to drag things, so I can hold this and move it and lines will form where you can drop it. So if you want to delete anything, that's how you can do it. So you can click it and a delete will come up here. You can also duplicate things if you need. So say for example, you don't think you want a habit tracker, you can drag and drop. Everything will be selected and then you can press delete and it will go away so that you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the basic usage. To add new things, I recommend using this because it will open in a side view. That's easier to add all the elements. So when I click to new just there, eventually this sidebar will pop up where you can then write hi, and then you can put all the specific tabs that you need. Hopefully that helps, and yeah, we'll hop into the other sections of this. Now we are going to hop into the main concept of this whole Notion, which is the quarterly reset. So if you don't know, my thought process behind this is just that I don't think that we should try to plan a whole year ahead when it comes to this time of year, or just like any time of the year in general. I think it's much more beneficial to kind of take it 3 months at a time. And this way we can kind of like reset ourselves the way we do on a Sunday, but on a broader scale, so that we're not overwhelmed, and that we kind of do things that serve ourselves in the moment that we're in. So for example, what I found last year is that I was trying to plan a year in advance, but the thing is that I had a lot of different changes in how I was feeling throughout the year that I didn't really anticipate. So it's kind of hard to set goals for yourself 6 to 8 months ahead when you have no idea how you're going to feel in that moment. So the purpose is to kind of like get to a point where you can be more intentional about that. So that's where we kind of come into our first block, which is the quarterly reset. can be found under this tab, My Reset, or it can be found lower down on the quarter reset, which will automatically update with the current quarter. I'm going to show you from here just so you can see the full page. So once we click the My Reset button here, you'll see this page come up in a side view, and then you'll scroll down and you'll see that I've already prepared the entire year plus the first quarter of 2024. Obviously, we're a long way from that, so we're just going to go over, like, all the content is the same, it's just updated for the upcoming quarter. So we're going to click January to March 2023 because that's what's coming up ahead of us. So once it loads, you'll see that we have January to March 2023, the first quarter of the year. You'll see there's a due date, which is January 1st. Obviously, this is like a light due date. It also has a reminder, so for all the next upcoming quarters, they'll all have reminders. And I've created a little checklist here of things that you can go through and check. These are all, like, all of these things here are available directly below in this page that I've created for you, so you don't have to go anywhere to find these. I've also, on this link, left all of the templates for these covers, so if you want to switch it up if it's not for you, but you want to keep the font or you want to keep the background and change the font, you can easily edit all of these from this link. Once you make a copy, you just need a Canva account. I've also made a drop-down checklist that you can click here and it will show you some other options of how you can make the most of the Notion space, so this is just for you to refer to on your own because I'm going to be going over a lot of this stuff. This is the main thing here of where I want you to think about what the previous quarter was for you, like how did you feel, what felt really good for you, what didn't feel as good, and then kind of bringing that into an intentional upcoming quarter by bringing in, like, what are ways that you want to feel. Is there something that you want to shift? So for example, what I noticed is last year in the new year, in January to March, I was really motivated because I was doing 75 hard and I just wanted to hone in, focus on myself. But by the time that spring and summer came around, I wanted to relax and not do as much and just focus on being outside. So being intentional would help me set more goals and, like, have better reflections. Going down here, we can see that we have a quarterly reflection space where that you can just put on music and write whatever comes to mind. Then we have two drop downs where this is where you're going to focus on goals that you can build for yourself, and only goals from that you plan to set in the quarter are going to show up here. And we're going to go over how to make goals more specifically in another video, but this is just where you can start putting bigger goals. I suggest 1 to 3. You can even set no goals if that's not what you're thinking of for the upcoming quarter, but these are just things to think about. These two tables are linked so that anytime you create an action item for a goal, it will show up here. Then coming down, I just have something that if you want to come check out how you're doing for the quarter, so say it's like the end of January and you want to see how you're doing, you can see all the books that you've said you've watched, or sorry, all the books you've said you've read, or all the shows you've watched, or your favorite kind of articles you found from the internet here. You can also get a breakdown of how your finances are doing. So are you spending money on things you need or things you don't need? And yeah, so this is just supposed to be one little overview that you come back to every quarter with new prompts. So coming back here, now that we've gone over resets, we are going to check out the task manager. So when we click into the task manager, it will also come up on the side as we've seen with our other pages. Once you open the task space, you'll see that I've put a playlist here for Deep Work podcasts. So if you're wanting to kind of listen to instrumental music that's going to help you focus, this is a great playlist for that. Then you'll see that I've left little notes for you, which are kind of similar to these Loom videos. Just, you can delete them if you want. If you want to delete them, all you have to do is hover over these, click it, and then you can just press delete and it will go away. You can leave them as well. You can write a note for yourself. It's whatever you want this to be. Then I have a view here where you can kind of see your tasks by like attributes that you've set for them. So you can see here, these are only for today as well. So you can see today what kind of areas are you focusing on. So you guys can kind of see that today I'm focusing on creative over personal things. You can also update these to be more relevant to you. And you can do that by going here those three dots, looking at properties. Then when you click type, you can see all these options here, and you can either click them and change the color, you can rename them, you can delete them, you can add more with this button. So you have so many options. You don't have to leave it the way that I've put it. This is just like a general brainstorm for what I thought people might think was useful. Then down here you can find a task brain dump where you can basically just like put everything that's in your mind on paper on your Notion and set different due dates. Just a reminder that I have different views that will allow you to kind of keep an eye on what's coming up for you. So if you set something that's not due today, say it's due 2 days from now, automatically on our homepage over here on our today view, those are going to filter in automatically. So you don't need to go back and then bring them in and add them. They're all going to automatically filter there. With this, you can see what's coming up this week. I haven't put anything other than today, so it's only going to be today, but everything that's coming up in the upcoming week will be there, so you don't have to worry about missing anything. And then these will just be all tasks that haven't been complete in general that you've created. Over here, I just have a general calendar. This is really just so that you can visualize and see kind of what you've been doing over time. And you can delete this if you want. You can make it more specific. That's totally up to you. So I hope this has been helpful for the task breakdown. Okay, now we are going to quickly run through the goals section. So if you come here and you click goals, these are also the goals. If you've seen the reset part of this tutorial, these are the goals that you'll find when you go through your quarterly reset and you kind of think about what's going to be coming up for you in the next 3 months or whatever quarter you're working on. I just want to go through kind of like the best way to use this structure so that it actually works for you. I have, again, these kind of prompts for you. You can delete them, you can keep them, rewrite something in there, whatever you want, but this is just at first to help you kind of go through it together. I have an example here which I want to show first. So I've put my goal in the new year by March 30th, which is right before the end of the first quarter. I've put I really want to run a 5K. So that's my broad goal. There are many things within this goal that I have to do to achieve this goal. So that's kind of where we come down to action items, and these are supposed to be like very specific things that you can do to get to that point. So you can see here that I've written find a free 5K training resource. So this is a guide that's going to help me run a 5K. Then you can see that I've linked it directly to that goal so that I kind of know what I'm thinking of doing. And you can see here that the action item will show up under that as well. So it kind of will keep you organized and thinking about all the things that you need to do in order to achieve a goal, which is why I do recommend to set or think about 1 to 3 broad goals, because already 3 is a lot and you're going to need to do specific things within those to actually achieve them in a way that is healthy and that makes sense. So one thing I want to go over is when you press new here, automatically a template that I've created to incorporate SMART goals, which is a specific framework around making goals, will show up here. So you can set a due date. It has to be within the quarter. If you want it to show up on that quarterly reset page I showed you earlier, these will automatically populate, and this you can leave empty for now, and then type will be up to you. Again, you can edit these by clicking these dots. You can remove them, delete them, add new ones, do whatever you want to do. To add a new one, all you have to do is just type. So you could say example and just press create, and now that is an example for you. And you can click here, you can click here and delete it if you don't want it. So it's as easy as that. When it comes to the SMART framework, these little gray boxes are areas for you to write in. In the 5K example I showed you, you'll see how I've written this out as an example for your own reference. And then this is a direct link to the action items section. So you don't necessarily have to scroll down in the other view to the action items. You can directly make them here. And when you press new action item, this will kind of prompt you to another template where you can think about, what do I need to do to achieve that goal? What is the action I'm going to be? What resources do I need? Again, you can see an example of that with the Find a 5K training guide. And then you can actually set specific tasks related to this action item, and you can set times for them so that you can kind of be on track with your goals. So this is a really basic way to just not overwhelm yourself. Another thing that I like here is that when you're in here, you can click this and it will automatically connect to an existing goal. So the goal has to be made first before you link it to this, but that's always an option for you. Hello, we are now going to get into finances. So when we click the financial section of our dashboard, we're going to have a lot of different viewing options in terms of how we want to see this. I just want to preface that this is not necessarily something that you can use to compile all of your finances. This is something that I would personally use and will be using as a daily tracker so that I can be intentional about my purchases and know what I'm spending every day. It's also what I'm going to use to kind of see what am I spending more on this credit card, that like debit card, whatever it is, because they have specific filters for that in this table that I've created for you. And it's also just gonna how I'm gonna kind of keep a monthly overview, like view of like where's my money even going? Like what am I spending a lot of money on? Do I have incoming and outgoing money? Are the things that I'm spending on more of needs over wants? And this is kind of based on goals. So if I have a goal to save, I'm gonna want to spend pretty much more on needs than I am gonna want to spend on wants because I'm saving money. So this is kind of how the overview works, and these two views will show you only for the upcoming month what these numbers are. And then here, I haven't bought anything today, and I've just gotten something. So when I go here, I can press new, and this will come up, and I can put Chipotle bowl. I can tag it if I want to. So for example, that was eating out, so I'm going to put that. The date is today. It's outgoing, not getting money. I'm spending money. My method was credit, and it was a want because I had food at home and I could have eaten the food at home. The spend will be $15, and then the type ends up being general spending. So I'm going to put it under spending here. Again, like I've been saying through the other tutorials, you don't need to stick to these options that I've created here. You can change the colors, you can condense it, you can make it broader based on your needs. You don't have to use what I've put here. And you can add things easily by just typing and pressing enter, and you can delete things and change colors by pressing these three dots and updating as needed. So the point of this is that every day you'll be able to kind of accumulate this view of what you've been spending, and then it will all kind of filter, and you can see that it's updated here on the main page now. It will all kind of filter into these quarterly reviews where you're looking at, like, if I did want to come to this year, if I had put this, if my spend was in the current quarter that I'm planning for, it would then kind of give me an update of like, how well did you do this quarter in terms of your goals? Like if you wanted to spend less, were you spending on things that you only needed or not? And then you'll have a very easy overview of all those. So you can come and check that anytime within the quarter. It's just not going to show up right now because my spends are happening before Q1 2023 in this example. Hello everyone, I'm so stoked to go into the next section, which is recipe planning. This is probably one of my favorite kind of sections that I've built out just because it fills a lot of pain points that I've been having trouble with. So the first section that we have here is a daily meal plan. So each day will be here, and say you're, like I personally do my meal plans on like a Thursday or Friday, so I'd be looking for the week ahead. And these are all linked to a recipe log that I have below, which I'll show you in a second. So if you can't automatically think of what you need, there will be automatically a list of things. But if you have an idea of like the egg dish that you want, you can press it and it will populate here, and then you can just go through the rest of the lunch, dinner, and snacks the same way, and you can just build it here however works best for you. So that's the first part. This is my personal system. So this is how I, every week when I sit down to meal prep, these are three things that I ask myself. What ingredients do I have left over that I don't want to waste? What do I need to prep? So that would be based on what you decide you want to make. So that could be things like wash kale, wash berries, chop lettuce. So that you have a really specific idea of what you want to do, it makes meal prep way less overwhelming. Then we are going to do a grocery list. What do you actually need to buy? So that's where you're going to write pretty much everything you need, the quantities you need if that's helpful to you. This will all show up on the main page under the grocery list for the week. And as you can see here, because I've checked off carrots, it's not showing up here, but this is just a general list that will show you everything that you need for a specific week. So next week this will be different and these will not show up anymore. It will be empty if you don't fill it in, or if you fill it in for the next week, based on the shopping date, it will update for that relevant week for your meal prep needs. So this is the view that you can keep open while you're grocery shopping, which is what we favorited in one of the earlier videos, or earlier parts of this video. And yeah, as you go grocery shopping, when you click it off, things will disappear so that you can focus on what you need from the grocery store. This is probably my favorite part of the entire Notion template, which is a no waste generator. So if you go back up to this section here where we were writing, what do I have a lot of that I need to use? Say you have a lot of, we're going to go to this filter here. Say you have a lot of chicken. Everything that has chicken in it in my recipe bank below, and this is something that you're hopefully going to be adding to, will populate here. And say that you want to be even more specific and you want to write also has lettuce. Oops. Then only the specific recipes that have chicken and lettuce will come up, and then you can kind of decide if you want to cook any of those for the week. So yeah, it's a really handy tool. It kind of requires one thing, which I'm going to show you, but make sure that if you want to use it, you click the filter so this comes up, and then you can just click it and type in what you need, and make sure it's on contains. This is where we come to kind of like the final part of this section, which is all of the recipes. So I've created a bank of over 100 recipes for you guys. I hope that you add to them as you continue to build your thing. Or for example, if you read my newsletter, I'm going to show you a way to easily clip any recipes that I put in my newsletter directly into this Notion template. So I'll go over the clipping in the directly from the internet in another video, but say you're adding something manually here, you would press new, and then you're going to get a few options. So you can put the title, so say it's like scrambled eggs. Then you're going to put the link, or you can paste the ingredients in recipe directly under here. This is where the main elements come in really handy for that kind of sorter that I showed you earlier. You just need to write like the top 3, or up to you how many you want to write. I've done up to like 5 or 6, but the main ingredients that you'll have. So this would be eggs, butter, like bread. Say I'm doing, this is a very not specific recipe. But now as soon as you enter this, whenever you search those things in the recipe finder before, you'll be able to find anything with these because it's linked here. Then you can just input meal type and any notes that you have. Obviously this is neither or, but you can add and remove things as needed. And yeah, that would be breakfast. So yeah, hope you find this as useful as I do. Okay, we are going to hop into the reading and watching section. I'm personally really excited to use this section because I think it will help me kind of keep track of what I've been consuming over the year. Like, I'm a huge media fan. I love reading, watching, and basically just consuming different things on the internet. So I think that this will be a really nice way to kind of like stay in touch with that. The first thing that I want to show you is this from the internet section, which is basically, you know, when you're like browsing online and you kind of want to save something, but you kind of totally forget about it. This is to help with that. And there's a Chrome extension that will help you clip things from the web directly to here. So I'm going to show you how to do that in another section, and it will be linked like wherever relevant for web clippings. But this is a really cool section. You can literally pull like the entire contents of a blog post into the Notion database, which is super cool as well. And you can favorite posts so that they show up in your quarterly reviews, like when you're looking back on the quarter and like you want to see what you were consuming, what you liked. Like if you favorite these, it will show up there, which is really nice. Then you have kind of like your book and media list, where for the book list, like I would just put anything that I've been reading. I find this super helpful because I know I read a bunch of books this year, but I couldn't tell you like all of the books that I read in a year. So this is going to be a way to kind of like track that and like honor the time that I'm spending to read these books, and just like help me keep notes on them and stuff. So I've put a few things like days started and ended, like ratings, fantasies, and like if you consider it an easy read, and that's just for if you want to recommend it to other people. The media list here, this is just for TV shows and movies. I've really gotten back into enjoying like good movies, and I want to be able to document that. Or if I see like our blog post that says like these TV shows are coming out on Netflix and want to keep track on that, I can basically clip it into here and then just know that it's going to be coming out soon and watch it. So that's just the point of this one, a pretty simple and intuitive one for you to keep mind of. And then all of these, based on when you watch them or put them in here, they'll come up in all of your quarterly resets that we went over in the first video. We are going to head into the life and note section. There's another feature in this section that I'm really excited about personally, and it has to do with birthdays, because I always forget birthdays, and this is my solution to kind of dealing with it in bulk and then not forgetting birthdays anymore. So the first section here is a note section. There's two things to keep in mind for this section. The first is that there are journal entries that will populate every morning. So if you go to this drop down and you press journal entry, after you press that and you don't delete it, it will, like a new one will generate every day. These journal entries have specific prompts that I've created for you, but that you can change, update however you want, so that you can kind of do your journaling here. I'm personally a handwritten journaler, like forever, but I might try this, but it's just something that I thought some of you guys would really like. So here you can see a nice little rainy day coffee shop vibe will come up. You can listen to that while you journal, and then you can just phone these prompts or change them to whatever you want. So that's the first thing. Then back in your regular journal view, you can press new and a blank template will come up, and you can take notes on anything that you need. So I know that I'm going to be using this for thinking about gifts that I want to get people for the holidays. I'm moving out soon, so I'm probably going to use it to make lists of things that I need to sell and prepare like a general packing checklist and stuff like that. If I'm going to be taking trips, I'm going to plan my trips in these note boxes. So that's the whole purpose of this. It can be anything that you want it to be, and you can either use the journal section or not. If you want them to stop generating every day, all you have to do is delete all the journal sections that you've created, and it will stop coming up every day. The second thing, which I'm really excited about here, is the birthday organizer. So my intention with this is I'm just going to sit down and go through Facebook and like how it has all your friends' birthdays, and write all my friends' birthdays in here, and then you'll see this will be like an upcoming month view of like whoever has a birthday in the upcoming month. And then on our homepage, you'll see that whatever day it is, since I've put Hannah's birthday as December 28th, that will show up here. These little timers mean that there's a reminder, so I think I have it set for about a few days before. It will give you a reminder that that person's birthday is coming up. And then you can wish them a happy birthday and not miss out like every single time, like I do. But yeah, I hope you find this helpful as well. Welcome to the last section of the Notion template. We've made it to the resources. So if you read my newsletter or have kind of been keeping tabs with what I've been writing over time, or over the past year really, I've released a few kind of like templates and resources that I personally used or continue to develop that have helped me with certain things like stress, just like getting motivated, building routines and stuff like that. So I've kind of built that and incorporated it all into this Notion element. So this is the motivation tactics. There's different prompts here. So for good sleep, for managing stress, enabling rest, dealing with sleepless nights, and working out when you don't want to. Each of these, when you open it, will have a bunch of different prompts and exercises that you can kind of do to help you with these things. These are things that I've created myself that I think will help other people, but if you already have your own tactics, you can either add them or you can edit what I've written to be resourceful for you. You don't have to worry about how I've done it. This is ultimately for you, so you need to do what works for you. So yeah, this is how this works, and you can add things from YouTube, Spotify, whatever you need. So I've pre-done that for the ones that I use, and yeah, hopefully you can use them as well. Next up, I've kind of created this like finding focus template. So this is how you can kind of sort and think about building focus for yourself. So this is like, I would come to this resource if there's a specific task that you've been trying to do for a long time and it's really just not happening for you. You probably just need to break down how you can focus to get it done. I've left an example here that you can delete after you check it out, but I'll just take you through the template. When you press new, it will automatically generate, but this is another example as well if you want to check it out. So within this template, you'll have a few different options of like, this is just a prompt for you. Like, what is your desired outcome from doing this thing that you want to focus on? Is it something that you need to do? Is it something that really doesn't need to be done? You can kind of think about that through that question. Then I think about these things like, what resources do I need to get this done? How can I make this happen for myself? So by going through and answering these things, and you can see more specific like prompts in the example that I've left for you. This should help you ultimately break these action items into tasks, which this again is just your task brain dump. It will connect to all the other task views in the Notion template to kind of help you with that productivity. Finally, we have the routine builder. I really like this one for when I feel like I need to switch something up and I feel like nothing's really working for me in my day. I also have linked a part in my newsletter where I've spoken more specifically about some of this stuff, but how this works, and you can expand the view by pressing this if you want it to be full screen. But basically within this routine builder, these are all examples, but you can move them around however you need. This is to basically experiment with different elements that you think would be a nice part of your routine, but you don't know where to put them. So for example, there are two kind of elements that you can have. One is a non-negotiable. These are things that we have to do. We can't really get out of them. So that would be work, that would be school, that would be appointments that have been kind of like pre-planned on an ongoing basis. So for example, it could be therapy for me, which is like once a month or something like that. And I know I need to incorporate it into my routine at some point. So I could put that there. So these are your non-negotiables. Or walking a dog. Say that you get paid for a 1 hour dog walk once a day. That's a non-negotiable and it has to be part of your day. So the point of this is just to kind of like figure out how long you think these elements that you want to incorporate are going to last and where do they fall. Are they things that you want to do or things that you have to do? Then you can kind of play around with where they fit into your day so that you're not overwhelming yourself and so that it can be actually manageable and something that you can do for yourself. So after you make your elements, which you can do just by pressing like new here at the bottom or by hovering over the chart and pressing new here, you can just basically filter them in to different things and see how it would look in your day. Like maybe you thought you were a morning journaler, but it hasn't been working for you. So what would it look like if you did something really calming like yoga and then journaled after that? So these are just options for you as well.